Are there training wheels for John Coltrane's Giant Steps? Yes and no. My name is Ron Drodos from keyboardimprov.com, and welcome to my journey through the real book, number 55. Going through every tune in the book, about one a week, usually on Fridays, and it's going to take about 8 years, but I'm on 55 already, 7 more years. This is Central Park West, John Coltrane, and the reason I say is it like training wheels for Giant Steps is that, you know, Giant Steps is very fast, and it's one of these tunes that goes between key centers that are unrelated, you know. You know, to navigate that takes years of practice, and it happens very fast. And what Central Park West does, it does it on a ballad. Giant Steps was composed in probably 1959, that's when it was recorded, and this was a year later, in 1960. But they're from the same period when Coltrane was looking to write chord progressions that were kind of symmetrical in a way. Like Giant Steps takes the keys of B, G, and E flat, which are related by major thirds, and he does 5-1 relations and 2 5s into those. Central Park West is very similar in that it has B as one of the tonal centers, the main tonal center here, but the other ones are related by minor thirds. So you have the key of B, D, F, and A flat, and he gets to them through these 2 5-1s. And even that motif, right? Sounds just like Giant Steps. So it's very related, but it's at a slow tempo. So you're going from one key to another very fast and improvising through those, but you can take your time and really have a chance to absorb it. That's why I'm calling it, it's like training wheels on a bicycle. You know, little kids sometimes get training wheels so they don't fall over right away. It's just a way to get up and running, and then you can, you know, work on it fast with Giant Steps. The interesting thing to remember here is that Coltrane, you know, he wrote Giant Steps and he wrote Central Park West and these very intricate chord progressions, and then he didn't keep playing them. He went to one chord vamps and, you know, maybe superimpose these on the sax playing on top of that, but he didn't stay here forever. So I think some people think, you know, this is like the be all and end all of jazz, like, oh yeah, I've got to learn how to, you know, play this, and this is like the pinnacle. In some ways it is, but Coltrane was moving. He was looking for something else with his playing, and arguably never really found it. One of my college teachers, Hale Smith, knew Eric Dolphy very well. He actually taught him out of Paul Hindemith's elementary training for musicians. And when Eric left for his last tour with Charles Mingus, when he passed away in Europe, he left his music, his sheet music and recordings, unreleased recordings with my teacher, Hale Smith. So he was very close to him. And he said, Ron, don't forget, Coltrane was still searching at the end of his life. He didn't quite find what he was looking for. And he got that, you know, from knowing him, and he knew Coltrane too. Coltrane recorded some of his stuff early on, but also through the association with Dolphy earlier on. So anyway, this is from a short period in Coltrane's development, like a 3 or 4 year era. But the cool thing about this is that I think Coltrane knew that as great as Giant Steps is, it doesn't really have a center. It just keeps moving through these key regions. And sometimes, you know, we need a center. So what he does here, after going through all these 2 5-1s, etc., the last 4 measures before the ending are on B major. It just stays there. And then it goes to the 2 chords, C sharp minor 7, but over B with a pedal. So it centers. It's sort of a transition between that sort of frenetic going from key to key and the music that Coltrane would soon do, where he was staying on these pedal tones. It's a transition. I actually didn't see that quite the same way until I just said that right then. It's a transition piece. It has a hint of what's to come with these long modal pedal points, like in tunes like India, which I think was just 61, not too sure about that. Anyway, here we go. It's, sometimes I like to extend that ending. And we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll just happen at the end or maybe during the courses. I'm not really sure. But it's really a beautiful tune, and I hope you check it out, especially if you want to learn how to play giant steps. Beautiful tune, and that was fun. You know, I did some things I haven't really done before on this in terms of the little atmospheric kind of, you know, over and that left hand melody. It's kind of picturing like a French horn, an orchestra or something. It's a beautiful piece. Remember, the real goal is to be able to sit down and play fluently. It's not necessarily to work on the hardest stuff in the world and then never really be able to play it. You want to get to the point where wherever you're at, it's just you're sitting down and you're playing it, and then at certain times you'll have more peak moments than at others. But you're basically, you're not having to reinvent the wheel or struggle every time you play. It just sort of flows naturally. Thanks for being here. Check out keyboardimprov.com if you're interested in step-by-step lessons on how to really take your jazz playing to that place of fluency. And I'll see you in the next video.